The year is 2119, and it's been exactly 94 years since the Great War broke out and destroyed everything we knew and loved. All over some fucking oil too. America knew the Chinese were more powerful, but when has that ever stopped them? When news broke out that the first bomb was set on course for Shanghai, the whole world went into pandemonium. After Shanghai was wiped out, China retaliated by destroying half of Midwest America. Russia, Japan, India, and the United Kingdom all then got involved. At that point, we knew all hope was lost for any reconciliation and just had to accept our fate. Australia was the first full casualty. 16 bombs managed to stray off course en route for Russia from the United States. Shame, really. Anyway, I digress. Where do I come into this, you may ask? Well, my name is Eric Haynes. I was born on the 15th of September 2093 in what was left of Cincinnati, Ohio, and I am a scavenger for my camp. What remained of the population after the war slowly started to rebuild itself by establishing camps and small communities in the remains of cities and towns across the country. Seeing as the radiation destroyed most of our food and water sources, surviving out here is a lot more difficult than one could imagine. Any nourishment and/or form of hydration is difficult to come by, and often when you do, it's tainted by radiation. Over the years, people have resorted to consuming infected food and water. You can probably guess how that went down. They say that if the radiation doesn't get you out here, starvation or dehydration sure as hell will. However, that is not why I'm sharing my story. No, I'm telling you all this because a few days ago, I found something horrifying whilst out searching for supplies. I was sent out to collect purified water from a reserve in a nearby forest. After 10 to 15 minutes of searching in the usual spot, I found nothing. Assuming we had exhausted that section's stockpiles, I decided to go deeper into the forest to see if I could find some more. After a few hundred yards, I came across a small clearing. I decided to examine the area for anything that could be of use. While searching, I tripped and fell, hitting the damp and dirty forest floor. I cursed myself and brushed away the dirt and leaves before checking to see what I tripped over. It was an old, metal handle. Sweeping aside some of the dirt around the handle, I was able to see it was attached to an iron door. It was old and rusted and had other visual signs of damage, indicating it was most likely pre-war, perhaps a bomb shelter of some kind. Immediately, this brought the possibility of food and water being inside to the forefront of my mind. Fueled by my newfound curiosity and optimism, I pulled open the hatches. This was surprisingly easy due to their condition, and peered inside. I was forced to hold back vomit as the foul and all-familiar stench of decaying flesh permeated from the now open doorway. Whoever had been using this bunker had clearly died a long time ago. I composed myself, covered my mouth and nose with one hand and carefully descended the ladder downwards. Thankfully, the sunlight reached all the way down into the depths of the bunker. After reaching the bottom, I took a moment to examine my surroundings. I was encompassed by 4 bare concrete walls. In the middle of the room were 3 mostly decayed corpses I was expecting to find due to the smell, along with some empty boxes which I assumed once contained food and water supplies. On closer inspection, the corpses appeared to belong to 2 adults, 1 male and 1 female, and a smaller corpse which I assumed was that of a child. After checking the clothes of the corpses for anything useful, I spotted something in the far corner of the room I hadn't noticed before. It was a book. Initially, my thoughts turned to using it as burning material. However, I for some reason felt compelled to read its contents. From looking at the inside cover, I learnt that it was written in 1992, and after flicking through some of the pages and reading what was still legible, I was able to deduce that this book told of a great war between the economic superpowers of the world that was to near on destroy the human race and leave the earth in ruins. The more I read, the more accurately the book predicted the consequences of the Great War in almost perfect detail. I dropped the book in shock. How was this possible? How could the author of this book have known the war was going to take place, let alone the aftermath of it, over 3 decades before it even started? Shaking from the feeling of dread that now consumed me, I slammed the book shut, sending a layer of dust around the room. I was about to take the wretched thing back to the camp and burn it, when I noticed something on the front cover. There was a line of white text that had obviously been covered by the layer of dust. What it read shook me to my very core. Written and published by Eric Haynes of Cincinnati, Ohio, 1992.